Hey world, it's being when to come back with another video. And if you didn't get a chance to watch my video on racial classifications and how there's a certain group of people that need to make sure that race is, you know, an important indicator on how you treat people, they have to have it. And that's why they continue to have these type of stories in the news. Think about this, family. Trump pretty much compared this impeachment process to him being lynched, like it's a lynching, right? The fake news, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, all of these news outlets seen Trump's tweet about comparing this impeachment process inquiry to a lynching. Now, I don't understand why these so-called pandering, old-ass, Afro-melanated politicians would agree to perpetuate this type of stupidity, as if the term lynching applies to us as Afro-melanated people. Like, oh, I'm offended because he used the word lynching. That is so stupid. Now you see how they try to keep this notion of divide and conquer going? This is not a story, family. Teachers in Chicago are still on strike. General Motors workers went back on strike. So you tell me what's more important. You think the news will have more empathy and sympathy on the plight of 300,000 students in Chicago not at school, or 25,000 teachers not at school, or over 500,000 people homeless in Los Angeles, California, and San Francisco? There's a lot more. That's what I'm saying, family. There's a difference between real news and fake news. And the notion that you can't see this obvious, agenda to divide and conquer us. Lynchings. As if you my age group or younger or older, you remember in the Western times what they showed on the television with the cowboys and the Westerns when a killer was apprehended or arrested. Guess what? He was hung. It was a hanging, right? And that was pretty much the corporal punishment instituted at that particular time. It was a hanging. So why would Afro-melanated people feel some kind of way because of the term lynching? Then Caucasian people should feel some kind of way with the term hanging. But guess what? They don't, because they understand it is bull. And these politicians, these Afro-melanated politicians that are condemning this statement in text that Trump did about lynching. And what's so crazy about it, family? Ask yourself the question. How many of you guys actually even know why the Democrats want to impeach Trump? We know it can't be because of conversation with a Ukrainian president. They said something called quid pro quo, but never tell you what the implications are on that or what it actually means. That's why when they say, we're trying to do what's best for the American people, who are they referring to? Because I promise you, a majority of the American people don't know what quid pro quo means. And these are the politicians that are voted into office, allegedly, to represent a certain sector of the United States, but they live in Washington, D.C. year-round. But they're supposed to have your best interests at heart. I'm in H-Town. Sheila Jackson Lee and all these guys. What? We're not that sensitive, family. Hearing the term lynching, don't put fear in my heart. It's ridiculous. But once again, if you didn't get a chance to watch my racial classification video, go check that out, because it tells you exactly what's going on and why they do the things they do. Race is basically instituted in an environment, in a society, by the colonists to make sure the hierarchy of power stays with a certain group of people. Right now we're in Houston, and we have the World Series. Houston Astros in the World Series against the Washington, D.C. Washington, whatever the name. I don't really watch it too much. But the tickets at street value like $165, but they scalping them for $2,000. See, they want the masses to be infatuated and be idolaters and worship these athletes. But ask yourself, how many times or how many, when do you think you'll ever be able to go to a World Series baseball game or NBA Game 7 or a Super Bowl? Because you're getting priced out, family. That's what they call racial classification. Only certain people economically can afford these events. But guess what? The masses watch these events. And they just hope and pray one day they'll be able to go to a Super Bowl or World Series game. Okay? So family, now make sure you understand the difference between real news and fake news. In the meantime, between time and the Most High inside to bring you joy. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, family. And being Willie, the truth is out of 5,000.